welcome back. This is the last week of my Halloween horror related series. This is the last week in which we are only doing horror related things. Next week we'll be adding in other stuff. You know, the Halloween and horror stuff isn't going to end, it's just going to have other stuff mixed in with it. Anyway, so this week I am making a sign post. You know, a post which signs are posted to. You know, a lot of people have been asking me about what I'm making, and I don't really have a good way of putting it into words, I guess. I mean, I can see it in my brain, but okay. So, you know, like when you're seeing a movie about horror or Halloween or haunted house stuff, there's always that signpost that has all the, directions or the places on it, and it's all like, yeah, I'm making one of those. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be fun. So this week, well, today, when I post this video, is only going to be the first half of it. I was going to finish it all for today, but unfortunately the spray paint I used has to cure for like 72 hours, and it ain't done. So I'm going to be finishing that along with the stuff that I already have planned for Sunday, just so you guys see what it looks like. But I do have all the signs for the posts, I guess, all figured out, and they're done. They're just curing. So we're just going to be going over the signs, the signs that go on the post. All right, so I designed myself all 6 of these signs. I got inspiration from a post on Pinterest, but all the designs were created by me. I chose to do 6 movies: Nightmare on Elm Street, It, Friday the 13th, Psycho, Pet Sematary, and The Shining. I used images based on the movies so that I had an idea of how I wanted them to look and the color scheme that I wanted things to be in. I used Design Space to design the lettering that each sign was going to have on it. And then I painted all the signs, and then I put the lettering on top of the signs. Once this was all done, I sprayed it with a clear coat acrylic spray paint. That way it was nice and sealed if it later on got wet or damaged. Okay, so since I just explained this whole 9-minute video in like a minute, I'm going to tell a story. So my husband does not keep track of what I'm doing each week. He doesn't know what I'm doing or what I need or how I'm doing it. Nothing. So I told him I needed a wood dowel, and he's like, "What kind of dowel?" I'm like, "I don't know, like a wood dowel that you put, signs on." And he says, "Okay, well, find one, and if, I need to go pick it up, I'll go pick it up." And I'm like, "Cool." So I go on Menards, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't really know what kind of dowel or how big this dowel is supposed to be, but, a signpost. It should be a square, and it should be, tall." So I ordered one, and I ordered it for pickup for the next day. And I sent him a text. I said, "All right, you need to go to Menards tomorrow, and you need to pick up this dowel for me." And he's like, "Okay, cool." He gets done with work. He gets in the car. He goes to Menards. I get a call 5 minutes later, and he goes, "What do you need this wood dowel for?" I said, "I'm making a sign." And he's like, "What kind of sign?" I'm like, like a signpost." And he's like, "Okay, well, what's going to be on the post?" I said, "Signs." And he's like, "Okay, yeah, I get signs are going to be on the post, but babe, these things are huge." And I said, "Well, what do you mean they're huge?" And he's like, "Well, it's like a 1-inch wood dowel." I said, "Yeah." Yeah, and he goes, "I don't think you understand how big that how big that is." And I said, "Yeah, it's 1 inch." And he's like, "No, I mean," he's like, "So how big are these signs?" And I'm like, "I don't know, sign size." And he's like, "Okay, well, can you go down and measure one for me?" I was like, "Cool, okay, I can do that." And I go downstairs, measure it out. I said, babe, they're 16 inches long. And he's like, what? I said, yeah, they're 16-inch long signs. You know, it's a wood sign for a post. And he's like, uh, why are you making that? And I said, because I want to. It looked really cool. And he goes, well, where are you going to put that? I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, you got to have somewhere to put it. And I said, okay, I'll put it in my office. And he said, Heather, where are you going to put a 6-foot high sign post? And I said, uh, I don't know, but I'll find room for it. He says, okay, well, I'll get this for you, and you got to be able to put this somewhere. I said, okay, challenge accepted. I am going to fit this sign in my office, and it's going to be awesome. And then I can rub his little face in it and say, see, I told you, perfect signpost in my office. After this conversation we had at Menards, he has not said one word about my signpost. And being that I've been together with this man for 13 years, I know for sure he is not saying anything until after the signpost is done and to see if I actually am going to have room for it. And then he's going to, throw it back in my face and say, hey, told you couldn't put this somewhere. Not like it's going to change anything, but I think it's more of like a silent challenge on his part. I think he is challenging me and saying, all right, you think you can do this. I'm going to see if you can do it, but I'm not going to tell you can't. Now, when I thought of this or decided to do this, I wasn't actually planning on putting this signpost in my office. But the way he said, when I said I was going to fit it inside my office, made me want to put it in my office more. So, am I even sure that I can fit this in my office? I really don't know. Am I going to try? Yes. Why? Because I've got to win. I've got to be able to say to him, see, I told you I could put it in here. So, moral of the story here, I'm going to fit this in my office and it's going to be awesome. So I'm super excited. But at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, Heather, what did you get yourself into? Thank you so much for watching my video and listening to my story this week. I'm super excited for you guys to see my signpost.